Hi, are you having trouble making rules stick in your house? Are they forgotten and abandoned and things go back to the way they were far too soon? Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell and I'll let you know every time I post. When we're talking about discipline and children, one of the key points is to follow through, because it's very easy to set out what you want and to tell the children that what you expect is the following. But then it's much, much more difficult to do the next bit. The next bit is to work out what very small sanction or very small reward there should be for keeping to the rule. Now, if somebody says to you something about you should be doing something a different way, it's very difficult to change a habit. It kind of becomes automatic to do things the way you always used to. So if you used to coming in and sort of dropping everything in the kitchen before going upstairs, it's very difficult to change a habit and remember to put everything away, for example. Also, in a parenting type role, you need to show you mean it, because so many times people don't mean that they have to do something differently. But if you're looking for change in their behaviour, you need to follow up. And for this, it's best when looking at discipline type issues, for when you're setting the expectation, talk to them about a small sanction or a small reward for following through and doing what you're expecting now. Sanctions and rewards are difficult to find. They are. What you're looking for is something very small. You don't want huge punishments and having to fight the child to take their phone off them or anything like that, or insist on an earlier bedtime or something of that nature, unless you can really do it easily, and you can't do those kind of things easily. So what you're looking for, and especially in step parenting, is you don't want to make a big deal of it. You just want to make the point. Because people will do as you ask, especially if they know you mean it and they have a negative consequence for not conforming and a reward for conforming. It gives them that extra impetus and boost just to do it. And so what you're looking for is something that you can almost do without them even noticing at the time. It needs to be small because we don't need it to be big. It doesn't need to be big. And especially as discipline from step parenting situations can be tricky, because you don't, it can destroy the relationship. You want to have a good relationship as a step parent and not one based on sanctions and punishments and denials and taking things away and them having a worse time because of it. So you are much better to emphasise the positives for doing something differently and then make the sanction so small it's almost they don't even realise it, except for they do know it happened. So I would suggest something like, you could even just sort of give them a mark for every time they forgot it. And then when those marks add up to sort of 10, take 10p off their allowance. Something very, very, very small. Something that, maybe it's about you have a weekly shop and you normally buy a packet of something or other that they like. And you just say, right, well, in order to in order to have that, you need to earn it. So therefore, if it goes for 3 weeks and you've forgotten something to do something at least 5 times or 10 times, then I won't be buying you that in the supermarket shop that month. It's something very, very small, and then they won't even really notice it. You know, they go to the fridge and it's whatever they want isn't there, and they go, oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's because I forgot to do my, whatever I said I was going to do too many times. And you don't have to ask their permission or do it to them. It just happens. Much better to concentrate on small rewards. I say small because you don't want to be giving big rewards. It can be very expensive in terms of money and time if you do. So it just needs to be a little lift. Buy something that they want extra in the shop that week, or give them a series of marks that when they add up to something, that you give them something extra. Or you offer to do something that you can do easily, but that is a gift for them, like give them a lift to the station or do something. It's just some little thing. What I'm saying here is it's very easy to try and set a boundary and a rule and then not follow through. Then they'll go back to doing it the way they used to do it, and nothing will have changed. The best way to deal with it is to ask them what kind of sanction and reward would be good for complying or not complying to this, and see what they say. It might be something that you can do, and you'll have their agreement if they do, provided that what they've suggested is very small. Or you can implement something you've thought of in advance and suggest you try that. It just helps because it keeps everybody focused for a little while longer after the rule has set. And the job you have is to observe when the rule is kept and say so and put in the rewards and celebrate it, and you'll get there fast. Sanctions are there for when you really need to give a sanction because they've forgotten. I'd give a bit of leniency, so if they forget the first time, you could give them a warning and then give them the small sanction next time. But concentrate on praise and giving, not criticism and sanctions. But have the sanctions and the rewards in place for you to implement. That way, with the follow-through, you can get the change. It's the follow-through that matters, and it requires you to remember and to observe and to give them feedback and to comment in order to make a rule work in the house. We run workshops, sessions, we write booklets, and we have an email response service. You can find links to our social media and website in the description box below.